man risks his life to save. Whale stuck in a net on a shore. What happens next will shock you. The fateful morning. The coastal village of Seaford had always been Liam Carter's sanctuary. As a third-generation fisherman, he knew these waters better than he knew the lines on his own weathered hands. On this particular morning, the ocean seemed restless. Waves crashing with unusual force against the jagged rocks that lined the shore. Liam had woken before dawn, as was his habit, to check the tides before setting out with his crew. The salty tang of the sea air filled his lungs as he walked the familiar path along the shoreline, his boots crunching on the pebbled beach. But today, the ocean's song was interrupted by something unnatural, a deep, guttural moaning that sent shivers down his spine. At first, he thought it might be the wind playing tricks through the sea caves. Then he saw it. A giant in distress. Just beyond the breakers, where the water turned from frothy white to deep emerald, an enormous shape struggled against the surf. Liam's breath caught in his throat as he realized what he was seeing. A humpback whale, easily 40 feet long, its massive body entangled in a spider web of thick nylon ropes. The whale's flukes, powerful enough to propel it thousands of miles across oceans, were now pinned uselessly against its body. With each desperate thrash, the nets only tightened further, cutting into the whale's blubber and leaving angry red gashes along its sleek gray skin. Its blowhole sputtered weakly, struggling to take in air between the crashing waves. Liam didn't hesitate. He dropped his gear and waded into the icy water, the cold immediately numbing his legs. The impossible rescue. The whale, a female, Liam noted, turned one enormous eye toward him as he approached. There was intelligence in that gaze. A silent plea that needed no translation. "I'm here to help," Liam whispered, though he wasn't sure why he bothered speaking. He pulled his fishing knife from its sheath and began working on the nearest rope. The water made every movement sluggish. The nets had wrapped around the whale in multiple layers, some strands cutting so deep they had begun to fester. Liam worked methodically, sawing at the thickest ropes first. Each time the whale moved, the water churned violently, threatening to knock him off his feet. At one point, a particularly strong wave sent Liam tumbling. He came up sputtering, only to find himself face to face with the whale's massive head. For a heart-stopping moment, he wondered if this was how he would die, crushed by a creature weighing more than his fishing boat. But the whale remained still, watching him with what Liam could only describe as patience. The moment of truth. After what felt like hours, though his watch claimed only 40 minutes had passed, Liam cut through the final strand. The net fell away like a discarded garment. For several seconds, nothing happened. Then, with a powerful contraction of muscles, the whale surged forward. Not toward the open sea, but directly at Liam. His instinct screamed to swim away, but something held him in place. At the last possible moment, the whale altered its course, gliding past so close Liam could feel the displacement of water against his chest. Then it did something extraordinary. The thank you. The whale circled back, this time approaching slowly. Liam held his breath as the massive creature came within arm's reach. Then, with impossible gentleness, it nudged him with its head. Not a collision, but a deliberate touch, like a dog pressing against its owner's leg. Liam reached out without thinking, his palm connecting with the whale's rubbery skin. For a heartbeat, man and whale existed in perfect understanding. Then, with a final flick of its tail that sent spray arcing through the morning light, the whale disappeared beneath the waves. The aftermath. News of the rescue spread faster than Liam could have imagined. By noon, marine biologists from the nearby research station had arrived, collecting samples of the discarded netting and documenting the whale's injuries. Dr. Eleanor Cho, a cetacean specialist, examined the footage Liam's wife had captured on her phone. "This is a mature female," she explained. "Based on the scarring, she's been entangled for at least 2 weeks. Without your intervention." She didn't need to finish the sentence. That evening, as Liam sat on his porch staring at the darkening sea, he couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't over. Aizum, the return. 3 weeks later, Liam was hauling in the day's catch when his first mate shouted and pointed starboard. There, not 50 yards from the boat, a familiar dorsal fin broke the surface. It was her, but she wasn't alone. A smaller shape, no more than 12 feet long, bobbed beside her. A calf, still bearing the fetal folds of a newborn. The mother whale Liam had taken to calling her Marina in his head approached the boat, her movements slow and deliberate. For 20 miraculous minutes, she swam alongside them, her calf mimicking her every move. When they finally departed, Marina did something Liam would remember until his dying day. She breached completely out of the water, her massive body silhouetted against the setting sun, before crashing back down in a shower of silver spray. The ripple effect. The story made international headlines. Documentary crews arrived. Conservation groups used the footage to push through stricter regulations on fishing gear. A local artist painted a mural of the encounter on the side of the fish market. But for Liam, the true impact was quieter. He found himself studying marine biology in the evenings. He organized beach cleanups. He even convinced the town council to establish a rapid response team for entangled marine life. Every time he took his boat out, he'd scan the horizon, hoping for another glimpse. Sometimes, he'd swear he saw a dark shape moving through the waves in the distance. Whether it was Marina or just his imagination, he couldn't say. The legacy. Years later, when Liam's hair had turned silver and his hands bore the stiffness of arthritis, a young marine biologist came to interview him for a book about human-animal connections. As they sat on that same porch overlooking the sea, the scientist asked what the experience had taught him. Liam thought for a long moment before answering. "That we're not so different, really," he said. "That whale, she could have crushed me without a second thought. But in that moment, we understood each other perfectly. She needed help. I could help. That's all that mattered." That night, as he often did, Liam dreamed of the sea. In his dream, Marina swam beside him, her eye holding all the wisdom of the deep. And though he knew it was just his mind playing tricks, the comfort it brought him was real. Because some bonds once formed can never be broken, not by time, not by distance, and certainly not by the vast, unknowable sea.